طيب مساء الخير. Good evening everybody. أنا بس أتأكد إن كله دخل وسمعنا. 10 seconds only to start our show tonight and our live streaming. The first ever streaming on EgyCham page to announce and introduce the Hrci certification provider. EgyCham is one of the new providers in Egypt, and we welcome our guest tonight. بس هستنى بقى حد يأكد عليا ان احنا الصوت والصورة تمام. بدأنا نظهر. اوكي اي ثينك ان كل الناس دلوقتي دخلت، مش كده؟ احنا موجودين لايف، موجود اونلاين كده لايف. تمام دن. اوكي مساء الخير على الجميع. ويلكم تو ذا شو. بدايه انا حابب بس ان احنا نتاكد ان كل الناس موجودين معانا في الحدث المهم ده. احنا النهارده هنتكلم مع بعض عن ال Hrci certificates تحديدا في السوق المصري واهميتها تزامنا مع انه starting from 2022 EgyCham becomes one of the main providers in Egypt for Hrci certifications, especially the PHRi, the SPHRi and GPHR. So welcome to the show, and let's welcome Mr. Jade. He will join us now. Hello, good night or good morning in the States, Jade, by the way.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's yes. Mid-afternoon here in Washington, D.C.
Yes. How are you, Jade? Jade is the Director, International Business Developer in Hrci, and he is the one who are responsible for the partnership and the accreditation for Hrci certification. So welcome JD for EgyCham members live streaming, and inshallah today will be amazing introducing for the Hrci certifications, and I hope all the EgyCham members will enjoy the show. And if anyone have any question to JD, so the Hrci guy is in person with you today. Okay. Welcome,
Thank you
JD,
for that introduction.
And you can go for the talk.
Thanks again for the introduction. It's a great opportunity to be in front of all of you. My intention today is to give you an overview of the international certifications that the HR Certification Institute, HRCI, has to offer globally, but in particularly in Egypt, in our partnership with EgyCham. Thank you for the opportunity. EgyCham has recently become one of our certification preparation providers in Egypt. That means that they are going to accept candidates to enroll in their program to prepare for the exams that HRCI has to offer. HRCI offers a number of certifications that are only achievable by taking an exam. And that exam is in a particularly format, and we partner with a number of different institutions all over the world who help candidates interested in achieving those certifications through that examination process. So I have a few slides that I would like to share with you to try to explain which one of the different certifications might be the correct one for you, depending on the level of experience and education that you have, and depending on the work that you're trying to pursue in your career as an HR professional. Let's start. One of the things that I would like all of you to remember to walk away from this presentation is with the information that you see online. Hrci certifications are the gold standard of accredited HR certifications. And why do we say that? It's because of a number of different things that point in that direction. Our community is present in over 125 countries. That means that we have people certified pretty much all over the world. Our community has grown over the last 45 years in more than 500,000 people. And we offer certifications for people operating in HR in all the different levels, from the foundational, very basic HR level to professional, very technical, and finally the strategic, senior, policy involved part of the job. So that's what I want you to make sure that you understand what HRCI represents. What have we offered over the last more than 45 years?
I'm pleased, Jade. We wanted to focus on the value of the HRCI certifications holders in the HR field, what they will gain from being certified or accredited as PHRi or SPHRi and even GPHR, and what the difference between the three certificates.
Sure, let me go into that. First, let me just mention our certifications are built according to the highest standards in accreditation in the United States, according to the National Committee for Certifying Agencies, NCCA, and at the international level, following a number of certifications and accreditation processes that definitely show the global focus on our certifications. But the best reason why we think that our certifications are relevant and means to professionals, no matter where they are located in the world, is the fact that 93% of Fortune 500 companies have HRCI certification holders. What does that mean? Companies have already hired HRCI certified individuals. And our certifications are based on a capability model, which you can see on your screens, which combine the different type of information depending on the level of certification, always with the HR professional in the middle, understanding what is in their environment, in their everyday practice of the HR profession. So here's I think the slide that is probably best going to serve for the conversation that we were just addressing. What is the value of the certification? When should you consider taking a certification? And what is the difference between the different certifications so that you're able to identify which one works best for you? No matter where you are in your career as an HR professional, you're going to find HRCI as a way to guide you through the different positions that are available in the market. Most of the titles that you see on the screen are generic HR positions that you can find in any company, in any country in the world. In the mid-level, which is where most of you, I think, are going to be, is the HR program manager or the HR operations manager, which is the person who is really doing the heavy duties of the everyday type of work, right? For that, we have the PHRi, Professional in Human Resources International. This is a very tactical operational certification, and it's really the bulk of the international community that we have at the moment. But for those of you who are aiming to a higher position or already have that level of responsibility, the SPHRi, Senior Professional in Human Resources International, and the GPHR, Global Professional in Human Resources, are the certifications to consider because they're more for the HR Director, Vice President, Chief HR Officer, which the policy of the company, the type of organization that they're working in, and being very, very aware of any legislation operating in their surroundings, in this case, the national labor laws and such in Egypt. So let me go a little bit more in depth into each one of the certifications. The PHRi is the operational tactical certification. In order for you to access this certification, there are certain requirements. If you don't have any education, you're going to require at least 4 years of HR experience. It doesn't mean experience in the labor market. It means HR experience. That means performing HR duties. If you do have an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree, you're going to need 2 years of HR experience. And if you have a master's or doctor's degree, then with 1 year of HR experience, that is sufficient to access the preparation and the exam for the PHRi. What is it in the exam, in the PHRi? You can see here the details of the functional areas for the different, for the exam content outline. The percentages indicate the number of questions, the percentage, the weight of each one of the functional areas in the exam. So as you can see, this is a lot of the everyday type of operations that HR is involved in, from talent acquisition to compensation, benefits, and just the interaction with employees. So how long is this exam? The format is 120 questions. Most of them are multiple choice, and you have 2 hours and 45 minutes for this exam. The next level app is the SPHRi. This is the Strategic Policymaking Certification. This is the certification that is meant for those directors, those individuals who have to understand what is the goal of the organization. Do you work for a government agency? Do you work for a multinational corporation? Do you work for a university, let's say? So depending on what is the goal of the organization, you're going to have to adjust the goals to the HR environment and how to deal with the employees and the resources in that organization. What do you need to access this certification? If you have no education, 7 years of HR experience will be necessary. If you have a bachelor's and undergraduate university degree, 5 years of HR experience. And if you have a master's or higher, 4 years of experience will be what you need. And here you can see the different functional areas in the exam content outline. It's just 4 of them, but as you can see, that it's very heavy on very business-oriented type of things. So let's say, for example, that you're going to have a new boss in your HR department, and they're really good with business, but really don't know how to connect that with the HR profession. This type of certification will be very helpful for that individual to understand how to connect the two perspectives. As far as the length of the exam, it's 140 multiple choice questions, most of them, and you have 3 hours and 15 minutes to complete the exam. Next, we have the GPHR. The GPHR is a strategic certification meant for individuals who perform HR duties in more than one country. So let's say that you're responsible for an operation in HR duties in Egypt, but they're also responsible for operations in, let's say, Turkey and Jordan and the regional countries that might be connected to the economy in the sense of multiple services there. So this is the type of certification that is going to allow you to operate with a global mindset. It's going to help you to better understand what is that you need in the everyday job and how to perform at the highest level for the benefit of your organization. What are the requirements for this organization, for this certification? 4 years if you don't have any education, 3 years of HR experience with a bachelor's degree, undergraduate degree, and 2 years of HR experience with a master's degree. And then you can see in the functional areas of this exam that is very globally oriented. This certification was born in the early 2000s as a result of the expansion of globalization, multinational corporations expanding in different parts of the world, and trying to make sure that there was a standard way of operating in HR. As you can see, the length is 125 multiple choice questions, and it's 2 hours long.
Okay, JD, let me ask only one question about the preparation courses for these certificates. Is it mandatory to go for a preparation course, or anyone have the pre-requirements without preparation course can take the exam? And why the preparation course is mandatory?
Right. So there is no obligation to take a preparation course. If you think that you have the qualifications and you think that you're ready to take the exam, you can go straight to hrci.org and you can apply for the certification. However, we have seen in years of working in this international environment that those who go through a preparation course perform better and have better chances of passing the exam. In addition, I do recognize that local preparation providers like EgyCham in Egypt provide a sense of how to understand the certification and implement it in the local market in Egypt, providing examples of the local markets, of the economy, and better be able to connect some of the general universal standards of HR that are true in every country, but how is it understood in Egypt compared to other places? When we talk about compensation and benefits, for example, that is very different depending on what economy you're operating in. So without a doubt, preparation providers are able to provide an extra value to that preparation course. So
And
you can
it's
think
like
of the preparation
the
course.
labor law. I thought, and many asked me about the difference between BHR and PHRi. It's our opportunity to give us the difference between PHRi and PHR.
Sure. So the PHR is the Professional Human Resources. This is the original certification only meant for professionals operating in HR in the United States. Why? Because that certification is going to include a number of questions on U.S. federal legislation. Law. So there's no need for anybody in Egypt to know how some of those laws that only operate in the United States to include that in the exam. The PHRi is the international equivalent. It does not have any US legislation. It does not have any local legislation, any laws from any country.
It's I think 7 years ago, there is no PHRi. All the PHR certified must study the federal law before going to take the exam, right?
Right. The international certifications were an expansion of the U.S. domestic American certifications in the approach of the Hrci to perform as a global certification institute. We transformed the certification into something that could be relevant in international markets. So the way to do that was, of course, to remove any U.S. specific legislation and to approach the certification from a global understanding so that...
Because it was useless for us in the Egyptian market or in other markets.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
The other difference to mention is the SPHRi, the Senior Professional Human Resources International. In order to apply for that exam, you're going to find the application process that it requires to have knowledge of local labor laws, of Egyptian legislation, and you can present that information through having attended a course. Of course, the preparation course that EgyCham will offer will cover those parameters, which is one of the reasons why it is probably a good idea to go through a preparation provider to ensure that you're going to receive that additional information and your application is accepted.
Okay, great. What is the duration you are expecting from the people who wanted to go the exam between the date of taking the preparation course and the exam date? What's your recommendation about that?
Right. We have seen, again, in years of being in the international environment, that without a doubt, those who take the exam within a month of having finished the preparation course perform better. A lot of people say, well, I'm going to go through the preparation course. I'm going to see how I feel about it. And then eventually I will take the exam. Not everybody performs well in that environment. Our memories with all the information that we're absorbing every day, we keep losing information that we have learned in recent days. So that's why our suggestion is to, as you go through the preparation course, already schedule your exam so that no more than a week after you have finished, you take the exam. You're going to have all the information fresh. You're going to have some practice exams that you're going to be taking during the course, and you're going to be able to perform at the best level. If you say, I'll prepare now, and 3-6 months down the road, I'll take the exam, that's probably not going to work in your benefit. And besides, while Hrci gives you 6 months to take the exam from the time that you apply, that should only be taken in case you really don't know what you're going to be doing. But if you're going to be taking a preparation course, you have a start date and an end date, and you know when you should be taking the exam. So definitely suggest to take the exam right away after the course is over.
Okay, perfect. You wanted to go through your presentation? continue it.
Yeah, I have just another component. Let's say that you go through the exam, you earned your HRCI certification. That's wonderful. Welcome to the community. What does that mean? Is that the end of the process? No. And this is something that a lot of people misunderstand. Certification is different from certificate in one of the reasons because of this. A certificate is you take a course, and at the end of it, somebody gives you a diploma that says you have taken this course. That's it. It's just an acknowledgement that you have gone through a preparation course, an acknowledgement that you have taken a course. That's it. In order to become a certification, and this is why you will only get an HRCI certification if you take the exam, you need to take the exam, and to maintain that credential, PHRi, SPHRi, GPHR, you need to continue with your learning process. And we do that through the recertification process. Each one of the certifications needs to add 60 recertification credits. So how do you achieve these credits? These credits, you can obtain them by attending conferences, webinars, duties that you perform at work, different ways of acquiring additional knowledge to stay relevant. So your certification, once you pass the exam, is active for 3 years. To maintain that certification active, during those 3 years, you need to go to hrci.org and in your profile, add the recertification credits to make sure that 3 years later, you're able to maintain the certification.
Great. And
for
this
the
is the difference between approved providers and certified or certifications provided, right?
Exactly. We work with over 2,000 different approved providers all over the world. Approved providers are helpful because they help people with maintaining their certifications. But an approved provider will never prepare you for an exam. An approved provider will never give you an HRCI certification. It's in the sense of any approved provider course that is approved by HRCI has been reviewed, has value as a content for HR, and will give you 1 credit or more to maintain your certification. But if you don't have an HRCI certification, there's really no reason why you need to go through an approved provider course. It's not going to serve you for anything other than knowing that it's HR content that HRCI has deemed valuable.
So the credit hours I'm gonna to take from approved providers in any course or diplomas or any HR course or conferences, I'll use that to recertify the certifications of HRCI, right?
That's right. And it's not the only way. An approved provider is one of the methods. You can also perform duties at work. Let's say that you work on a strategic plan for HR in your company. That is already something that you can enter in your recertification process without having any involvement from any approved provider. Let's say that you read a book on HR. Some of those books have already been approved. HRCI offers weekly webinars every Thursday, Alchemizing HR webinar series. Each one of those webinars has a code at the end. It's worth 1 recertification credit. So if you take 60 of the webinars, you will automatically recertify when you enter that code in your profile. So there's different ways of doing it. Approved providers are connected to HRCI, but are really outside organizations that have their own initiatives.
Okay, great. Please continue presentation.
Well, as you can see, there is a very specific credits for the SPHRi and the GPHR. The SPHRi requires 15 business credits. And what that means is that some of the activities that are submitted under the approved provider program have been counted as business credits. And what that means is that they're connected to the business practice. And the same thing applies to the 15 global credits, activities that are meant for global professionals. So you can go to the directory of approved activities in HRCI, and you will search for business or general or global credits to find out what are the opportunities that you can sign on. Some of those activities are free. Some of those are conferences that you have to pay. So there's a lot of offers. As I mentioned, there's over 2,000 different approved providers. There's a lot of opportunities to accomplish your recertification every 3 years. Going back to the value of the certification, of the years of performance that we've seen with our certifications, we have seen how when people get the HRCI credentials, they achieve higher annual income, faster growth in their income. They're happier with their careers because they have a clear trajectory of where they want to go, a career path that they know what it means. They're recognized by their colleagues, and it has advantages in the job market, because if you are an employer looking for your next HR professional, and you look somebody with an international certification like Hrci versus somebody who doesn't have an international recognition, you're obviously going to have better options to get that job. And finally, I wanted to leave you with some piece of information. You probably have seen this if you follow Hrci closely. The Rise of HR is a free ebook that you can download as a PDF, or if you have a Kindle or an e-reader, you can read that on an electronic book. If you go to hrci.org/Rise of HR ebook, you will be able to download this free book. It's 73 stories or articles by global leaders, many of them in HR specifically, many of them certified, who talk about how they implement HR practices. It's a few years old, but still, because of the pandemic, more than ever, I do believe that it's still relevant, and I have found a lot of wisdom in the approach that these leaders have to offer. So that's the information that I had to share with you. I'm happy to answer any additional questions and to provide additional insights on how and why you should be certified by Hrci.
Great. Some people ask about the difference between the preparation material for the PHRi and SPHRi. Is there any differences between the preparation material and from where they can get it?
So Hrci does not have its own study materials for the international certifications, but we do work with a number of publishers and materials providers who have for years been associated with Hrci, who follow the evolution of the different exams. And without a doubt, they have done a really good job preparing people for the exams. You might find that some of the study materials available include the PHRi and SPHRi in one single material. And the reason for that is because they share a lot of the functional areas in both exams. Maybe the basic of HR is covered, and then the additional component on business for the SPHRi is included as well.
Okay, another question. Muhammad is asking about the fees of the exam, and if he dropped the exam for any reason, could anyone have a refund for the exam fees?
I think I understand the question. So the cost of the exam you're going to find by going to the hrci.org website. For my suggestion would be the best price, you're always going to find it through the local preparation providers in Egypt. They have the best package put together. We rely on their expertise and the offer that they have. If somebody for the exam pays for the exam, there's not going to be a reimbursement. There's a level of commitment. So when you're ready to apply for the exam, you should have a plan. It's very important to know how you're going to prepare and how you're going to, when you're going to take the exam, so that you don't have any issues with that. Because of the pandemic over the last couple of years, we have seen some exceptional situations in which, because a local test center was not open, because there were some restrictions in mobility, we have been able to extend perhaps the date of the exam. And we'll always work with you to make sure that we do the best that we can to help with your situation. But my suggestion would be always to have a date in mind and to work a plan through that preparation and exam date.
Okay, the pandemic who blocked the air flights and everything, blocked also the educational activities in many countries, unfortunately.
Yeah, in fact, one of the good things that came out of this exceptional times is that we activated online testing in Egypt. So if you want to take any of these exams online, you can do so through our testing partner, Pearson VUE. They offer a platform, Pearson on VUE. You take the exam on your computer. You can take it at home. You can take it in the office. As long as you're taking the exam in a closed environment, meaning you cannot have anybody around you, you cannot have anybody interrupting you, there can be no noise, and you need to really read all the limitations of taking the exam in that environment.
And it
there's
will
always
be
the
an
alternative.
open book exam.
No.
It is beyond any eyes. There is no controllers.
Listen, you know, this exam is only for people who are committed to the HR profession. It's something that part of the reason why people get certified is because of their love, their passion, their commitment to their profession. And I like to say that we don't make HR professionals better. HR professionals make Hrci better because it's subject matter experts, people who are certified, people who work in the HR environment, who develop these exams. We are not just some entity who decides what HR is all about. It's HR professionals from all over the world coming together, deciding what are the parameters, the standards that HR professionals need to be aware of and how to implement them. That is why we are so relevant, and we've been around for so long with a focus on the profession. It's because we're thinking, what is it that an HR professional fully dedicated to this needs to know? If you're somebody doing admin, if you're something who just doesn't really know what to do, I'm going to test this out. This might not be the right certification for you. This is something that really takes commitment.
Okay, Ola is asking about the differences between, if you wanted to ask this question, okay, between Hrci certifications and the other entities in England like CIPD or other providers. What is the difference between them?
Right. So the models are different, specifically with CIPD and SPHRi. I understand that CIPD has different levels of tiers, and you need to perform different tasks in order to access to those different levels. The Hrci model has always been the same. It's a certification, and by certification standards, what that means is that there's going to be an exam, and there's a requirement to maintain that credential through a recertification process. So it's very clear. It's very internationally recognized in that sense. In fact, Hrci is, since last year, the Secretariat for ISO and for the HR Technical Committee on HR Standards in the United States. So what that means is that we're always at the front leading what HR standards are all about. And our mindset is already in that idea of we are a global institution who needs to dedicate to what HR professionals experience no matter where they are. There are other professional certifications. Many of them are national. I understand that Canada has one, Australia has one, Nigeria has one. And in fact, in many of those markets, we also have a significant presence because people see the value in having an international certification, especially now that we're all more interconnected and that you might be working for a company that has headquarters in a different country. So it is helpful to have an association and a national certification that offers that specific information about how to operate in that specific market. But when you're thinking of how global credentials are recognized, ISO standards and that sort of thing, having a third-party international institute like ours, I think is what provides a significant connection to that environment. And also you are able to connect to a community that, as I mentioned before, we have presence in over 125 different countries. So you can join our Hrci LinkedIn group, Hrci Voices, Hrci Global Voices for the international community, and you will see how the conversations are happening from Malaysia to Nigeria to Saudi Arabia to Canada, and you can see how there is a common trend in how the HR profession is evolving.
By the way, I met JD more than 4 years ago in Dubai in one of HR conferences, and because of the pandemic, we couldn't continue anything. So we inshallah hope this year, 2022, to start the partnership between Hrci and EgyCham in Egypt. We have more than 6,000 members in EgyCham, and our conferences this year, by the way, will be the 10th annual Mr. John's conference. Will give all the attendees credit hours to recertify their certificates, and we hope inshallah to start our successful partnership with one of the most elite valued institute in the HR community over the world, Hrci. It's my pleasure personally, Jade, to meet you tonight, and I hope this year will be delighted for both of us, inshallah.
Likewise, I like to say that without a doubt, Egyptian HR professionals have always been on the leading of what it needs to be. I know that people really value their professional development, and historically, Egypt was always one of our top markets with people really committed to this. We have an international ambassadors program, and 2 of our international ambassadors for Hrci are from Egypt, so I can definitely say that there's a lot of value.
Thank you so much, Jade, and we hope, inshallah, this year we will both gain a successful HR community, both in Egypt and all the Arab countries, inshallah. And we hope to see you in the coming, inshallah, conference in Egypt to meet you in person with all the HR professionals in EgyCham. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Inshallah, in 2023.
Inshallah, the coming year. Thank you. I'm sorry for bothering you in the morning. In the States, it's 3 a.m. now?
3 p.m., 3 in the afternoon.
Afternoon, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
See you again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. شكرا. باي باي. طبعا شكرا جزيلا. نتمنى ان اللايف النهارده يكون افاد الناس كلها ووضح الفروق ما بين كل الاتش ار سيرتيفيكيشنز اللي موجوده، سواء البي اتش ار اي او الاس بي اتش ار اي او الجي بي اتش ار. احنا ان شاء الله في EgyCham الفتره اللي جايه هيبقى الشهر القادم يعني باذن الله هيكون في اورينتيشن سيشن لكل الناس انترستد تو جوين احد السيرتيفيكتس دي باذن الله رب العالمين. ودايما كده كلنا نقدر نضيف قيمه ان شاء الله لمجتمعاتنا وللكارير ومهنتنا، مهنه العمر، الاتش ار كارير. ثانك يو سو ماتش وجود نايت. وطبعا اوعوا تنسوا تشجعوا مصر بكره، اهم حاجه يعني. ما فيش ميعاد بكره الساعه 9 في نفس الميعاد اللي احنا بدانا فيه اللايف النهارده، ماتش مصر باذن الله، ونطلع منتصرين ونتاهل ان شاء الله للنهائي واللا نهايه وما بعدها. Thank you so much. أشوفكم على خير.